Hey kids, I was originally gonna make this on last Saturday, but because of an illness, it got a bit delayed. And also, I don't have COVID anymore. I tested negative like a few months ago, but anyways, welcome back to Wikipedia Travesties, where I, King Ghost Clay IV, will read Wikipedia articles to you, and basically I click the random button on Wikipedia and talk to you all about the Wikipedia page I get. Anyways, here we go! The Italian Baptist Church is a historic church at 10 North Brook Street in the city of Bear, Vermont. Built in 1906 to 1908, largely with volunteer labor, it is a distinctive regionalized example of a vernacular church architecture more typically found in northern Italy. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1975. Awkward pause over! The Italian Baptist Church stands just off North Main Street, north of Bear's downtown business district. It is set on the north side of Brook Street, between North Main and Laurel Streets. It is a single-story structure built with a wooden frame and masonry exterior. The side walls are brick, while the street-facing main facade is an elaborately decorated work of granite. A central recess is defined by a pair of polished Doric columns and flanked by square pilasters, all supporting a slightly projecting dentelated entablature. The entablature is continued to the main building corners. It's topped by a cornice and a central gabled parapet, at whose windows is a Palladian window. The stonework of the facade exhibits a variety of finishes, from rusticated blocks at the lower level to hammered details in the entablature and the smoothly finished columns. The church was built in 1906 to 1908 by local volunteers, including many Italian immigrants who came to work in Bear's granite quarries. That's why it's called the granite capital of the world. The design of the building is credited to the priest, A.B. Belondi, under whose tenure it was built. It is essentially a vernacular interpretation of a northern Italian church architecture, built using local materials. The church was in active use by its Baptist congregation until the 1920s. In the 1930s, the church was used as a clubhouse by the Improved Order of the Redmen, a fraternal society that has seen a variety of commercial and religious uses. On to the next Wikipedia page. And oh boy, do I love this one. Anfim was a 6 to 7 year old boy from Novgorod, which is now the place known as Veliki Novgorod in Russia. He lived in Novgorod in the 13th century, sometime around 1220 or 1260. He left his doodles and homework exercises scratched in soft birch bark, which was preserved in the clay soil of Novgorod. Anfim, who was most likely 6 to 7 at the time, wrote in the Old Novgorodian dialect of Old East Slavic. Besides letters and syllables, he drew quote-unquote battle scenes and drawings of himself and his teacher. Novgorod, now known as Veliki Novgorod, is the important administrative center at the Novgorod Oblast. At the time Anfim lived, it was the capital of the Novgorod Republic. Scholars believe that the Novgorod Republic had an unusually high level of literacy for the time, with literacy apparently widespread throughout different classes and among both genders. Some 200 kilometers, or 120 meters if you're American, south of St. Petersburg, the city is surrounded by birch forests, whose bark was used for centuries by the locals for writing, since it was soft and easily scratched. Since 1951, more than 1,100 pieces of birch bark with writing on it have been found, and even more dug up each summer. In Russia, birch bark manuscripts are called beresta, birch bark, also, which is birch bark in Russian, plural, Travesties. And the academic field that studies them is called baristology. In Russian, that is baristologia. The great number of Travesties is an indicative of a high rate of literacy among the population, as is the large number of styluses. Multiple monuments have been dedicated to Anfim in Veliki Novgorod, and, well, also I made a Twitter roleplay account for him, because I am a stand for him. Anfim is love, Anfim is life. Anyways, Anfim left 17 known birch bark items. 12 of those have illustrations, 5 are only text. One of the drawings features a knight on a horse stabbing someone on the ground with a lance. Scholars speculating that Anfim pictured himself as the knight, or as the odds one out called it, a drawing of Anfim stabbing his teacher. Anyways, the scholars speculated that Anfim pictured himself as the knight, stabbing the guy with the lance. The writings are clearly learning exercises, and Anfim practiced by writing out the Novgorodian alphabet, repeating syllables, and writing psalms with texts that were presumably familiar to him. His writing include phrases such as "Lord, help your servant Anfim," and fragments from Psalms 6:2 and 27:3. Most of Anfim's writing consists of citations from the Book of Psalms. Anfim's illustrations include pictures of knights, horses, arrows, and slain enemies. One image, a portrait of himself disguised as a fantastic animal, is found on item 199. It was originally the bottom of the basket made in Park. Anyways, which contains a picture of a beast with a long neck, pointy ears, and a curly tail. The beast either has an arrow with feathers in the mouth or is spewing fire. One of the accompanying texts says, "I am a wild beast," which is one of Anfim's most famous drawings. The text, and guess what? This was actually a note to his possible classmate Danilo, which says, "I am a wild beast. Greetings from Anfim to Danilo." As I said earlier, Danilo is most likely a friend or a classmate of Anfim. The number of fingers pictured on the people's hands varies from 3 to 8. And yet, Anfim had yet to learn how to count. The rows of 5 letters each on the other side of 199 are an alphabet exercise. On item 205, Anfim wrote the Cyrillic alphabet and added Anf for his name. In the middle, below that alphabet, is what some researchers see as a boat with oars. Item 206 contains alphabetic exercises and portraits of little Anfim and his friends. Now, here are some drawings from Anfim. These are the most amazing things I've ever seen, and they're adorable! The picture with Anfim stabbing his teacher, Anfim and his dad, now in the 6th hour, a series of syllables and portraits, and other various drawings. Oh, and here's the I am a wild beast drawing. I love this kid so much. He's why I live. He's why I live. Oh my god. He's so adorable. Echidna grandis is a moth of the family Erebidae. It was described by Herbert Druce in 1883. The Echidna grandis species is found in Ecuador. O.J. Simpson. No. Just no. Lepno is a village in the administrative district of Gmina Richiliki within Elbląg County, Warmary and Masurian Voivodeship in northern Poland. It lies approximately 4 miles, 6 kilometers if you're not American, southeast of Rishliki, 20 kilometers, aka 12 miles if you're American, southeast of Ilblag, and 63 kilometers, or 39 miles, west of the regional capital, Ozitin. Okay, so, what just happened? Oh, look at me, I have a mustache. I have an idea! Pennytinny is a hamlet in the parish of St. Hugh, Cornwall, England, in the UK. The Orient Warbler, its Latin fancy name is Pterodactylus hornsey, which I keep thinking sounds like Tetris, but okay, is a species of bird in the Cuban warbler family, Travesties, that is endemic to Cuba. Its natural habitats include dry forests, lowland moist forests, montane moist forests, and xeric shrublands. As its common name implies, the Orient Warbler is found in Cuba's east. It's a sister species to its fellow Cuban endemic, the yellow-headed warbler, which is found in the extreme western Cuba. Cuba, 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 Cuba. If I hear Cuba one more time, I'm gonna look Cuba. Anyways, lawnmower. Amotus is a genus of broad-nosed weevils in the beetle family Curculonidae. There are at least 3 described species in Amotus. These 3 species belong to the genus Amotus. Amotus longipinus, Amotus seniculus, Amotus sedulosus. Have you ever heard of the hit game Cyborg art, also known as cyborgism, is an art movement that began in the mid-2000s in Britain. It is based on the creation addition to new senses to the body via cybernetic implants and the creation of artworks with new senses. Cyborg artworks are created by cyborg artists whose senses have been voluntarily enhanced through cybernetic implants. Among the early artists shaping the cyborg art movement are Neil Harbison, whose antenna implant allows him to perceive ultraviolet and infrared colors, and Moon Ribas, whose implants in her feet allow her to feel earthquakes and moonquakes. Other cyborg artists include Manuel de Aguas, a Catalan photographer who developed fins that allow him to perceive atmospheric pressure, humidity, and temperature through a couple of implants at each side of his head. Joe Deckney, an artist who has developed and installed a radar system in his head. The sensory system includes 2 implants in his cheekbones. Paul Prats, creator of a system that allows him to feel the ultraviolet ray levels that reach his skin. Alex Garcia, whose sensor installs in his chest allows him to feel the air qualities levels around him. And finally, Kai Landre, a musician developing 2 implants to hear the sound of particles affected by the collision of cosmic rays. I seriously can't believe people do this. And if I ever get into this, I'm going to install a jetpack on my back. Lija is a town in Lintri County in the Sichuan province in China. As of 2020, it administers Renhe residential community and 6 villages. These are the villages: Yao Wan Ding Village, Dai Chi Village, Guan Hua Ding Village, Du Peng Chi Village, Gao Feng Cheng Village, Xin Sui Ping Village. Jil Mali is a village in the administrative district of Gmina Milmoyen in Ostrota County, Warmian Masurian Voivodeship in northern Poland. It lies approximately 8 kilometers, 5 miles if you're American, southwest of Milmoyen, 15 kilometers, 9 miles if you're American, west of Ostroda, and 50 kilometers, aka 31 miles, west of the regional capital, Olsztyn. Marcel Harand, born October 8, 1897, and died June 11, 1953, was a French stage and film actor best remembered for his roles in swashbuckling or historical films. He appeared in over 25 films between 1932 and 1952, but Harand's best remembered role is as Lacenaire, based on Pierre-François Lacenaire, in Marcel Carné's Children of Paradise, Les Enfants du Paradis, which was released in 1945. Other films in which Harand appeared in include The Last Days of Pompeii, released in 1950, and Fan la Tulipe, which was released in 1952, which also featured Gerard Philippe and Gino Lollobrigida, in which Harand played the role as Louis XV of France. Now you're going to hear a list of movies that Harand was in. Now you're going to hear a list of films that Harand was in. The Pavilion Burns, 1941, where he was Auditioné. Les Visiteurs de Soie, 1942, where he was Baron Renaud. The Count of Monte Cristo, in 1943, where he was Bertuccio. The Mysteries of Paris, also in 1943, where he was Rodolphe. Les Enfants du Paradis, where he was Lacenaire. Fantomas in 1946, where he was Fantomas. Star Without Light, also in 1946, where he was Roger Mani. The Royalists, 1947, where he was Corentin. Dilemma of Two Angels, 1948. Roy Blas, also in 1948, where he was Don Salluste. The Mystery of the Yellow Room, 1949, where he was Larsan. The Perfume of the Lady in Black, 1949, where he was also Larsan again. The Last Days of Pompeii, 1950, where he was Arbax. No Pity for Women, 1950, again. Wolves Hunt at Night, 1952, where he was Pedro. Fan la Tulipe, 1952, again, where he was famously King Louis XV. And finally, La Putain Respectueuse, 1952, where he was Senator Clark. I feel like ending it here, but no, just no. We gotta stretch this to an hour! Oh, also because I'm nice, I'm gonna let you listen to this. Oh, and I'm also gonna be staring into your soul for the entirety of this, so yeah. So, how'd you like it? Now, let's go back to the Wikipedia talk. 1422 Stromgrania, provisional designation 1936 QF, is a stony Florian asteroid from the inner regions of the asteroid belt, approximately 5.5 kilometers in diameter. It was discovered on the August 23rd, 1936, by German astronomer Karl Reinmuth at the Heidelberg Observatory in southern Germany, and named after Swedish-Danish astronomer Svante L. Stromgren. 2139 Macharadz, provisional designation 1970 MC, is a rare type Nysa asteroid from the inner region of the asteroid belt, approximately 14 kilometers, 8.7 miles, if you're American, in diameter. It was discovered on June 30th, 1970, by Russian astronomer Tamara Smirnova at the Crimean Astrophysical Observatory in Nozhny. You see, Macharadz belongs to the Nysa family of asteroids, which means it is very nice and polite. It orbits the Sun in the inner main belt at a distance of 2.0 to 2.9 AU once every 3 years and 10 months, aka 1,411 days. Its orbit has an eccentricity of 0.19 and an inclination of 2 degrees respect to the ecliptic. In the Tholen classification, Macharadz is an F-type asteroid. It has a rotation period of 11.9759 hours with a brightness variation of 0.38 magnitude. Wow, 2 asteroids in a row. Huh. Neat. Oh, and there's also gonna be more. Yippee! NGC 4414 is an unpaired spiral galaxy about 62 million light years away in the constellation Coma Berenices. It is a flocculent spiral galaxy with short segments of the spiral structure, but without the dramatic, well-defined spiral arms of a grand design spiral. In 1974, a supernova, SN 1974G, was observed and was the only supernova in this galaxy to be recorded until the 7th of June 2013, when SN 2013DF was discovered at magnitude 14, and on the 1st of January 2021, when SN 2021J was discovered at magnitude 12. NGC was imaged by the Hubble Space Telescope in 1995 as part of this telescope's main mission to determine the distance to galaxies, and again in 1999 as part of the Hubble Heritage Project, and it has been a part of an ongoing effort to study its Cepheid variable stars. The outer arms appear blue due to the continuing formation of young stars and include a possible luminous blue variable with an absolute magnitude of -10. NGC 4414 is also a very isolated galaxy without signs of past interactions with other galaxies, and despite not being a starburst galaxy, which means it, like starburst, shows a high density and richness of gas, both atomic and molecular, with its former extending far beyond its optical disk. NGC 4414 is a member of the Coma 1 group, a group of galaxies lying physically close to the Virgo cluster. The Beretta Model 1915, or Beretta M1915, is a semi-automatic pistol manufactured by Beretta, designed by Tullio Marangoni, who was the chief engineer in the company, to replace the Glicenti Model 1910, which had a complex and weak firing mechanism. It is the first semi-automatic pistol which was manufactured by the company and issued as a service pistol in the Royal Italian Army during World War I. The total production of the Beretta M1915 was estimated about 15,670 during 1915 to 1918, and about 56,000 of the Beretta 1915/1917. Some of these pistols were also used in World War II until 1945. The design of the pistol is similar to modern Beretta pistols such as the Beretta M1923, Beretta M1934, Beretta M1935, Beretta M1951, Beretta 70, Beretta 92, the Beretta Cheetah, and the Beretta M9.
But King, it's a gun. You shouldn't be talking about that on YouTube.
Shut up, you white supremacist! Anyways, now I gotta wipe this blood off me. God, I hate Vivid Bob. The Glicenti Model 1910 used a bottlenecked 7.65mm round, which was similar to the 7.65 x 21mm Parabellum. Later, having the Italian Army judge the 7.65mm round to be too light for military use, and having launched a competition for 9mm handguns instead, the Metallica Bresciano Tampingi, owner of the design, adapted the Glicenti pistol to fire a 9mm round, obtained enlarging the original one, eliminating the bottleneck, without changing the load. Therefore, although being the cartridge dimensionally identical to the 9mm Luger, which that was obtained in the same way from the 7.65 x 21mm Parabellum, but increasing the load, the 9mm Glicenti cartridge has a load that is 1/4 lighter than the original military load of the 9mm Luger. When Italy entered World War I, the need for more military pistols increased dramatically. The chief designer, Tullio Marangoni, completed his design of a simple blowback action pistol that could fire the same 9mm Glicenti cartridge. Was patented by the Pietro Beretta Arms Factory on June 29, 1915, and was immediately adopted by the Royal Army, the Italian one, not the Brits, just over a month involved in the Great War. It replaces the previous ordinances, the revolvers, the Chamelot de Vigne 1874 and the Bodillo model 1889, and above all the automatic Glicenti model 1910 and Brixia mod 1913. Not fully satisfactory. A .32 ACP version, the Beretta M1917, was also produced and adopted by the Italian Royal Navy. Finally, it was replaced as an ordnance by the Beretta M1934. The barrel is cylindrical, with a cylindrical front end on which the viewfinder is fixed. While underneath the rear end protrudes the peg joining the stem, the core has the 6 right-handed lines with its 270mm pitch. The cart also acts as a shutter. On the back, it has the expulsion window, which in front of which it is completely open to accommodate the cane. Behind the ejection window, however, on the other hand, it has the extractor lever, and finally the rear sight with dovetail joint. Inside the trolley, the striker is placed with its spring, while on the lower surface there is the sleeve in which the spring guide rod of the return spring is inserted. At the back, there is recess for the movement of the dog. The front part of the stem houses the recovery spring with its rod. It encages the lower sleeve with the carriage at the front, while at the rear it contrasts with the safety pin. The latter also acts as a retainer for the barrel, as it is inserted into a recess of the vertical peg below the breech. The straight handle inclined only 9 degrees with respect to the barrel, with knurled grips in a walnut. The single piece with the stem and trigger bridge contains a magazine, a trigger chain, the dog's spring, and holder's retention. The latter is placed on the base of the handle posteriorly. The left-hand grip has a notch for the corrugator holder. The magazine, made out of sheet steel, has a capacity of 7 rounds bullet and is monofilament. Lit laterally, it has large fenestrations or large circular holes. The sole that closes the bottom protrudes slightly on the front to facilitate extraction. There are 2 safety devices. One is inserted on the back of the shaft. It consists of a piece that turning the lever with the knurled end button so as to uncover the S engraved on the stem goes into a joint in the dog's head, blocking it. The other one is on the left side. Externally, it consists of 2 arms pivoted on the peg that blocks the barrel and the return spring. The rear arm ends with a knurled button, the front arm with a tooth. By lowering the rear button, uncovering the S engraved on the stem, the pin blocks the trigger and unlocks the barrel, which can be disassembled, while the tooth of the front arm intercepts one of the 2 incisions on the lower edge of the carriage. The M1915 is unusual in the fact it used 2 manual safeties. One is a slide stop safety on the left side of the frame. The other is a small lever on the rear side of the frame. If either safety is set, the pistol will not fire. The M1915 actually has 2 variants. The M1915/17 and the M1915/19. For the M1915/17, the gun is smaller and lighter than the M15. The straight handle, inclined only 9 degrees with respect to the barrel, has vertically scored grip panels instead of knurled ones. The trigger guard is round instead of ovular. The grip safety has been removed. The frame-mounted safety on the left side is present, as well as acting as a safe blocking the trigger. It also works as a dismounting pin and hold open lever. Also missing are the shock absorber spring and the ejector, which is replaced in its function by the striker. The magazine contains 8 rounds bullet. The magazine contains only 8 bullet rounds instead of 7. And the war production ended in 1921, while the Civil War continued for a long time. Finally, in the 1940s, a batch of 1,500 pistols was sent to the Finnish army. The Beretta model 1915/19 was the improved version of the /17, which chambers 7.65mm Browning cartridge is the same thing as the 1915/17 pistol. The round post barrel mount where the barrel was lifted straight up out of the frame was replaced with a T-slot mount. This required a larger opening in the top of the slide, so the double opening of the M1915 was changed to a single longer one. The slide now looked like the characteristic open-top Beretta style. The 2 users of the Beretta M1915 were the Finnish Army and the Italian Royal Army. I just spent more minutes than I should talking about a gun. An Italian gun. Mamma mia! Carabodes femoralis is a species of mite in the family Carabodidae. It was originally described as a species of Tegeocranus in 1855 by Swiss lithographer and entomologist Hercule Nicolet. It feeds on the fruit bodies of the bolete mushroom Boletus batius. Mustafa Al-Abdullah is an Iraqi musician, video director, and producer based in the United Arab Emirates. He rose to prominence in the Arab world with the 2018 hit single Tal. Mustafa al-Abdullah was born in Baghdad and studied film direction at the Abu Dhabi Film Institute. He collaborated with artists Haytham Yusuf, Rita al-Abdullah, and Satar Saad on The Voice, Al-Saut. In 2018, he released the song Tall featuring Mahmoud al-Turki and Al-Jassim. The music video of the song actually received over 500 million views on YouTube. His other prominent singles include Bees Hubi featuring Ali Jassim, Kilish Getat at Wiyai featuring Mahmoud al-Turki, and Hawa, also featuring Ali Jassim. In addition, he also founded the production and distribution company Star Casablanca. In 2020, he released the songs Yakuni and Mfrsh. The songs that he made were Biswa Habi, Kilish Getat Wayai, Tal, Hawa, Al Ahbab, Suhuthnak, Intarishieb, Helu, Habibi Al Gali, Yakuni, Mfrsh, Habib El Ruth, Ejana Eliel, Yom Ahmad, Derbalak und Ala Umak, El Esaba, Habebehwa, Hayati, Elman Bad Ahb, Nami Yaeni, Wafaya, Elma Redni Mandreda, Ridani, Sagarak Ani, Tal El Huthni, Ensa El Gaharam, Ma Biahil, El Ferga, Aktha Habebe, Ta'al Shufu Hali, Hishawa, El Gabgali, Thakuni, Wala Nasik, El Kwahna, Hil Tabit, Faragdak, Ya Habibi, Mashift El Yum Habibi, Bilden, Bishwesh, Ani Wahid, Hala Baghdad, Za'alan Nafsi, Abu El Hinya, Nieli, Arejt, Shewak Lunak Shakar, Eyana El Aid, Brohi, Shilo Eyuk, Eshik Badawi, Hatak Bilras, Galbi Saf El Them, Afehya Yamak, Abus El Bakhat, Hil, Shumaku, Hant El Eshra, Bashar Kush, Ani Mithlim, El Kafla, Msauma Bid Allah, Res, and finally Resala. Binley Mega Chippy is a fish and chips restaurant in the suburb of Binley in Coventry, England. Okay, so you see, Binley Mega Chippy first opened in 2004, but in early 2022, users on social networking platforms Twitter and TikTok started sharing ironic memes about the chip shop. A song about the chip shop was created with the TikTok text-to-speech feature because at the time of this video, they recently added a feature where you can make the text-to-speech sing. They made a jingle with it, and it goes like this. Binley Mega Chippy, Binley Mega Chippy, Binley Mega Chippy, Binley Mega Chippy. Anyways, okay, but after the jingle was created, the shop, actually restaurant, the venue went viral on the internet. The jingle also received several remixes which helped the venue go viral online. A hashtag Binley Mega Chippy, was viewed online nearly 8 million times by the 27th of May 2022. Users of the online gaming platform Roblox had created numerous games about the chip shop. The chip shop actually began to receive tourists from across the UK documenting their visit. Staff at the shop admitted their initial confusion about the sudden surge in popularity. Local shoppers were also confused by the venue's sudden popularity. By the 30th of May 2022, the venue had become so well known that it received visitors from Scotland, Portugal, and even one customer from Australia. Ana Yancy Perez, born September 14, 1976, is a Cuban windsurfer. She competed in the 2000 Summer Olympics. Wait a minute, Cuba? Oh, here's a fun fact. The second longest place name belongs to a village in Wales, and its short name is Llanfair Polgwyl. Do you want me to actually pronounce this in full? Well, I'll do it for you. Llanfair Pilgwyn Nigil Goguri Schwindrobil Ilancy Silo Go Gok. Chaldibar, formerly also Chaldovar, is a village in the Paniflov district of Choy region of Kyrgyzstan. Its population was 8,465 in 2021. I need something to fill out the rest of the 4 minutes of this Brandenburg concerto. Trigger warning. If you do not want to see an ancient Egyptian mummy, click off the movie now and watch some other video, you insensitive 16-year-old blue-haired snowflake. Nesatan Betashru was the name of 2 ancient Egyptian women. The name means belonging to the Lady of the Ashru. The Ashru, or the Isharu, was a crescent-shaped sacred lake around the temples of the solar goddesses. Here it refers to Mut. Nesatan Betashru of the 21st dynasty was a daughter of Pindijem II, High Priest of Amun and Neskhons. She is mentioned in the funerary text of her mother, written on a wooden tablet. Her mummy, coffins, and ushabtis were found in the tomb TT 320 and are now in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. Nesatan of the 22nd dynasty, however, was the wife of the High Priest of Amun, Shoshenq, and the mother of Pharaoh Harsias A. She is also a chantress of Amun. She is mentioned on a statue of Bes. Her husband was previously thought to be identical with Pharaoh Shoshenq II. Her funeral text, known as the Greenfield Papyrus, is the longest on record. It belongs to the British Museum. Morris Scott, full name Sir Henry Morris Scott, born the 23rd of July 1910 and died the 5th of June 1976, was a lawyer and politician from the nation of Fiji. He was a member of the Legislative Council between 1947 and 1966, serving as Speaker between 1958 and 1966. Born in 1910, Scott was the son of Nellie and Henry Milne Scott, one of Fiji's most prominent lawyers and politicians. After being educated at Wanganui Collegiate School in New Zealand and attending Magdalen College at the University of Oxford, he was called to the bar at Gray's Inn in 1936. The following year, he set up his own law firm in Suva before joining the family firm Wum. Scott & Co. in 1939. During World War II, he served in the Fijian military forces and number 208 Squadron of the Royal Air Force. He flew Spitfire fighters with the Desert Air Force, serving in Italy, Iraq, Palestine, and the Western Desert, and won the Distinguished Flying Cross. When he returned to Fiji after the war, he rejoined his family's legal firm in 1947. He also served on the board as chairman of several companies, including Burns Philp and the Fiji Times, as well as becoming president of the Fiji Rugby Union, a role he held for 21 years. He contested the 1947 elections to the Legislative Council, winning the European Northern and Western seat, and he was re-elected unopposed in 1950, 1953, and 1956, and was awarded a CBE in the 1957 birthday honors. In 1958, he was appointed Speaker of the Council, and he remained Speaker until 1966 and was knighted in the 1966 birthday honors. Following a previous marriage that produced 2 children, Scott married Fanny Jady, the widow of Harold Jady. His son John later served as the head of the Fijian Red Cross. Maurice died in June of 1976, and he was buried at Navuoloa. Continuing the Scott family tree, we have John Morris Scott, the son of Maurice Scott. John Maurice Scott, born 1948 and died the 1st of July 2001, was the Director General of the Fiji Red Cross and received a Red Cross Award for his role during the hostage crisis during the 2000 Fijian coup d'etat. Scott was born in Suva, Fiji, and educated in Fiji and New Zealand. He held a number of prominent public positions for various national, regional, and international councils and programs. He was a 4th-generation European Fijian, and his father, Sir Maurice Scott, was the first European speaker in the Parliament of Fiji. Scott joined the Red Cross in 1994 and played a key mediation role after George Speight seized Parliament on the 19th of May 2000 and took Prime Minister Mahendra Chaudhry and his government hostage for 56 days. Scott was initially the only outsider allowed to see the hostages and eventually oversaw their release. He decided to testify in Speight's trial because he did not want to compromise the neutrality of the Red Cross. Scott was involved in trying to restore Fiji's overthrown 1997 constitution and was among the members of the gay community that put forward submissions to keep the constitution because it protected LGBT, also known aka lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender rights. Scott was murdered on the 1st of July 2001 in Suva along with his partner Gregory Scrivener in an apparent homophobic attack with a possible political motive. Scott's story became the subject of a New Zealand documentary, An Island Calling, which is based on the book Deep Beyond the Reef, which was written by his brother Owen Scott. Serica trochiformis is a species of May beetle or June bug in the family Scarabaeidae. It is found in North America. Glyptotrox vimeri is a species of hide beetle in the subfamily Trogonae. Cephinodxantome is a moth species of the family Sphingidae. It is known from Sao Tome Island. The bug railway station is located in Pakistan. The Santa Maria donna Romita is a former church located on Via Palladino in Naples. A church at the site was first founded by nuns Putavitly fleeing in 1025 from iconoclasm in Constantinople, and thus initially gave the monastery the title Monasterium Monialar Santa Maria di Perseggio di Constantinopoli Ordinis Cisterciensium Regulae San Bernardi. In the time, this became the Church of Santa Maria Dominarum de Romania de Neapolitanum Ordinius Cistercensis. By the 14th century, a church on the present plan was built and refurbished in the 16th century by Giovanni Francesco di Palma, along with construction of the convent and cloisters by Giovanni Vincenzo della Monica. Further reconstructions in the 16th and 17th centuries gave the complex its Baroque imprint. In the 19th century, the church was suppressed and became an engineering school. It was damaged during the Second World War. The interior ceiling, from 1587 to 1590, was decorated by Giovanni Andrea Magigliolo. And why is there so many Giovannis in this page? Anyways, and painted by Teodoro de Errico. On the counterfacade is an F&M, 1728, while the cupola is frescoed by Luca Giordano, and the apse are the remains of the main altar sculpted by the brothers Bartolomeo and Pietro Getti. The pavement was designed by Donato Massa. In the chapel, Duke Theodore's remains are housed in a reused ancient Roman sarcophagus. If you're seeing this movie is about to end. Yeah! Odie B. Falk, born August 26, 1933 in Winsboro, Texas, is a historian who specializes in the history of the U.S. Southwest. Credited with writing or co-authoring more than 50 books, he is a professor emeritus of history at the Northeastern Oklahoma State University. Oh, I just had to clear my throat there. Falk pursued his education as a historian at Texas Tech University, progressing through Texas Tech to the PhD level. He then pursued a teaching and writing career at Texas A&M, the University of Arizona, Arizona State University, and Arizona Western College. He became head of the history department at the Oklahoma State University in 1972. Falk has donated some of his paper to his alma mater, covering work undertaken from 1960 through 1973. The personal archive is stored in the Southwest collection of the Special Collections Library at Texas Tech. Herpetogramma cleoropa is a moth in the family Crambidae. It was described by Edward Mayrick in 1934. It is found on the Marquesas Archipelago, where it has been recorded from Haivaoa. Mordelistena nunenmacheri is a species of beetle in the genus Mordelistena of the family Mordelidae. It was described by Liljebalde in 1918. Delian Statif, born the 26th of March 1994, is an Italian triathlete. He competed in the men's event at the 2020 Summer Olympics, held in Tokyo, Japan. He also competed in the mixed relay event. Have you ever heard of curses? Well, it happens to paintings too. The Crying Boy is a mass-produced print of a painting by Italian painter Giovanni Bragolin. You see, basically the 1950s painting was, apparently it was very cursed. You see, whoever bought this painting, their house would go up in flames. They would die. But the only thing that was left in the ash was the painting. Without a scratch, without ash on it, without a burn mark, without anything. It looked like it was untouched. Anyways, kids, that's all for today. I am King Olella, and this is the end of the movie.